in its third reading. Thank you.
Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I started off talking in the House last night on this bill saying that it was surreal. It was surreal, Mr Speaker, speaking on a bill that repeals 31 acts that no longer exist. Well, last night certainly turned into a surreal experience when it was more like karaoke than normal practice of the House, Mr Speaker. And we certainly had some challenges before us, and certainly parts of the discussion and debate last night deteriorated into farce due to the issues that we were confronted with. But the real reason why it was so surreal was because the minister that had brought this bill to the House, the latest minister to bring this bill to the House, was John Banks, who and has been referenced by a number of speakers, has certainly been suffering from documented memory loss. And I just want to refer to what the previous speaker said on a couple of issues, because he said that there have been a lot of niggles raised on this side of the House about this bill and the issues that lie behind it. And I'd just like to say to him that they're more than niggles. That this bill is about tinkering with regulatory reform, but the niggles that the members on that side of the House seem to have such an issue with are serious issues. They're issues of probity, the probity of a minister, and the ability of that minister to actually bring legislation before the House and have credibility on that. They're issues about the principles of regulatory reform and actually what those principles mean, and whether or not the minister that brought this bill to the House has the credibility to bring those issues before the House. And there's issues, and there's certain, and the member on the other side of the House also talked about a better policy environment. Well, you know, that's a bit of a joke, really, when you think about it, because the better policy environment that we have at the moment includes things that minister who's brought this bill to the House has got some sort of responsibility for, which includes charter schools. Charter schools, which is actually using taxpayers' money and taxpayers' money and interfering with our important state school system. He's got memory loss. He's got memory loss about donations. Now, this bill does contain a lot of information and a lot of change around the probity of how organisations such as New Zealand credit unions operate. Cronyism. Cronyism is another major issue that's before this House, and it's before this House again today. The latest issue of cronyism is around the appointment of Wayne Matt's private secretary to a position that it's doubtful whether he qualifies for.
Order. Now, we've had some very clear instruction as to what the topic that's acceptable to this debate is, and the member has strayed outside it. I ask her to return to third reading speech.
Mr Speaker, I'll turn to the bill because it actually, the bill in the third reading has it does make some important changes, but I also would like to reiterate that this bill is actually a bill that came out of the work that was done by the previous Labor government. And it's sat on the order paper for several years and hasn't been progressed, despite resulting in some quite significant money saving that could actually have already been taking place. There are 4 particular issues that it deals with. It amends the Companies Act, and it will save money on using that electronic shareholder participation. That could have been in place for the last 2 years if this government hadn't lagged on bringing this bill back to the House. The Unit Trusts Act, so that financial statements and accounts can be distributed electronically. Amending the Film, Videos and Publications Classifications Act. We had a lot of discussion about that last night. Millions of dollars could have been saved on this in the last couple of years. And then it aligns and consistency in all food-related legislations Act. So we support this bill, Mr Speaker. It came out of work that we did and that we did it in the previous government. It should have been brought before this House before now, and that government and that minister who brought it before the House has some serious issues.
Dr. Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Green Party to speak to the 13 bills